Folks, today I would like to talk to you about self-realization, God realization, and the methods to achieve that state. The usual method that is suggested in various religions is to surrender yourself to the God of that religion or to some unknown God if you are not attached to any religion. For example, if you are a Hindu, surrender yourself total surrender to Rama or Krishna or Shiva or Vishnu, or if you are a Muslim, surrender to Allah and Allah only. And if you are a Christian, surrender to or have intense faith to Jesus Christ or the Father. Or if you are a Jewish person, then surrender yourself to Yahweh, the Jewish God, and so on and so on. And as opposed to this, I have a different method called ignorance removal. I will talk about that after talking about this surrender. When you surrender, some people think that they have to surrender everything one has: family, wealth, your job, your house, your wife, children, etc., etc. Go to a forest and dedicate the rest of your life finding God, or surrender every day your desire, everything about you to that God of your choice. And some of you will take a lesser approach of living in the family, but dedicate yourself totally to the God of your religion or the unknown God, dedicating more time worshipping, reading, um, giving up all your desires, and your focus is on God realization, self-realization, as opposed to taking care of the family and so on. Again here, surrender all your desires, everything that you need to surrender according to your religion. Basically everything, all your interest. Now, there are two issues here. Unless you carefully listen to this, you may miss it. One is that actually there are three issues. One is part of the first issue itself. Okay. Who or which God you are surrendering to? If you are surrendering to your religious God, then there is a division. You will be still surrendering, and there is a division of the religious division in the world. You are a Hindu, surrendering to Hindu God. If you are a Muslim, you are surrendering to Allah, Muslim God, etc., etc. So this division, as I've been saying in the past videos, that will always cause trouble. Numerous wars have been fought in the past because of this division. Even now, though not big, huge wars, there are a lot of fighting going on between religion, saying that my God is better than your God and so on. So you cannot live peacefully in your life, because after you have experienced your God, one of the results should be at least living peacefully, with love and so on. If you're dedicated to your God, the God of your religion, then you cannot really love the other one, the children of or the people of other religion. There'll be always fights. You cannot live peacefully. Self-realization is not really just for realizing the self, but living peacefully. That's the first problem. The other problem is you are surrendering yourself to the unknown God. The God that you have read in your religious books, or if you are not a religious person, the God of unknown origin, something which you don't know, which is beyond the human mind. When you surrender to that one, the question is, when will you surrender and how will you surrender the one to whom you are surrendering everything to? In other words, how will you or when will you surrender the God beyond human mind or God of your religion? Is that possible? As anybody who has suggested surrender as a method of self-realization or God realization or living peacefully, thought about this, has suggested any solution? No one. If you think that you have you have a different view, let me know through your comments. I'll respond to it. But the point is that total surrender includes although to the God or to the entity to whom you are surrendering. Unless you surrender that, the surrender, total surrender is not complete. That's the first problem, major problem. Second problem is, who is surrendering? You are surrendering. You, the one in the mind, with the mind and the body. And that is not the self, according to Hindu religion or other religions. That is not God, because always you think that you are you. Normally what you think as you has a lot of difficulties in living, is small compared to the huge pure God. Unless this small one, which is in your body, surrenders, how will the real self will be realized? That is another important question, which is not solved by the people who are suggesting self-realization using total surrender. That one will always remind. You may say that when you surrender to your God, and that one will make you to surrender yourself also. Has it ever happened to anybody? After self-realization, people still talk about their own God. Who is talking about their own God? That is not the real self. It's a divided self. You are dividing yourself from another person who is dedicated to some other God. So these are the 2 or 3 major issues. One is by total surrender to your favorite God, religious God, you cannot get rid of the divisions in the world, religious divisions in the world. And as long as the divisions are there, there is bound to be war, fight, and there will not be any peace. Second problem is, when you do total surrender, that does not include to whom you are surrendering to. And the third issue is, the one who is surrendering will still remain there, though in a milder form, in a different form. What will happen to that one? When will you surrender that? Now, these are the three problems. If you have a different opinion on this, let me know through your comments. I will respond. Now, let's consider the approach that I've been suggesting. By the way, what I've been suggesting in my earlier videos, in the other channel, even now in this video, is not based on any of the religious textbook. In fact, everything is based on my own spiritual experiences. I never had a chance to read any of the religious textbooks before experiencing my spiritual experiences. The very first experience is opening of the seventh chakra. Many people will say, yeah, that I have realized the seventh chakra by samadhi. All that they are doing is they are still remaining in their own mind, which is inside the body. Though they will say there is that one is somewhere here and so on. Opening of the seventh chakra, energy in the form of light flows from outside to in the inside and cleans up the whole thing. And that is the chakra. For that, the chakra has to be opened. But if you on your own try to open the chakra through Kundalini yoga or any of the yogic techniques, you will die, because that is the channel, that's the direction, or that's the method by which, that's the chakra through which you will die. You pass through that one when you are dying. You probably must have heard people saying that the near-death about their near-death experience. They say, yeah, I went through, it was like a tunnel. And the other side, there was so much love, there was a light and so on. And then immediately they'll come back. If you go through that, you will die. On the other hand, for certain people, as it happened to me, that I didn't open it. I didn't try to open it. I didn't even know what the seventh chakra is at that time. I was not a yogi. I was basically a computer scientist person. The light came from outside to inside and then completely cleaned my internal, what is called, subtle body. And the flow of that light prevented the me leaving this body. Though I totally was unable to even be aware of the body, and also during the first spiritual experience, the mind was totally, I saw the mind totally dissolved in the golden light. Anyway, I will give a link to that first experience. You can go and watch that. It's extremely important to note that unless the seventh chakra is open, you can never enter the kingdom of God, what is called kingdom of God in the Bible, or the place where the God is. There is only light there. All the folks who have been teaching about gods they see God through the mental eye, or so-called third eye. And that's why they talk in terms of God in the form, human form. Even Prophet Muhammad, though he talks about the Allah which has no form, he went through his experience in the cave. He saw Moses, he saw Jesus Christ, and so on. They're all, when you see forms, you are still in the third eye. Your seventh channel is not open. Unless you open, before it opened, and even all the forms disappear, there will be still darkness. And that is not formless. There won't be any angel there. For Prophet Muhammad, there was an angel, I think Gabriel or someone, talked to him about Allah. Anyway, now, my method of self-realization that I've been suggesting to people is based on my spiritual experiences. I'll give you a list of the playlist. You can go and watch them. Okay, now let's go to the ignorance removal, removing the ignorances. What are the ignorances? Let's take some examples. One of the first things that most people come across is the notion of God. God in form. There are numerous forms in Hindu religion. Though they say there is no form, Allah has no form, even Muslims worship symbols, in symbolic form. Masudi, the word Allah, all the descriptions about Allah in Quran is a symbol. If you talk to a Christian priest, pastor, they will say we don't worship any form, but they worship the cross. It's a form, symbol of Jesus Christ. They worship that particular form, though the real form of Jesus Christ, the real body of Jesus Christ is unknown. They worship that. That's a form worship, worshiping a form. And you worship Jesus Christ as described in the Bible. That description is a form. No, though not a physical form, it's a mental form in terms of words. Same thing is true with about Yahweh or any other religion. Buddha, for example. So, point is, the real God is formless and it is beyond human mind. It's an ignorance to think God is in your mind and you can talk about it. And you can hear about it going to the church, and you can worship by going to the temple. And then you can even ask for the boons from the form. To think that form that you have in your mind will take care of your health, your wealth, your success, etc., etc. All these are the mental gods, gods in the human mind. But no, not many people understand that, accept it. So this is the first and foremost ignorance. The God in your mind, all the religious gods described in the textbooks are in your mind. It's not beyond the human mind. It is not in the kingdom of heaven. That's why they talk even about that Jesus Christ has gone to the heaven to the Father, and he has created many mansions for all his followers. Mansions. There is no mansion. All these things are imaginations, mental ideas. So the first ignorance, and that is which is to be removed, is that God of your mind is not real God. You have to realize this. You have to let that go. You have to be without that clutch, strong clutch of this ignorance. And the second one is, many people, many religions, they talk about love. Hindus talk about love of Shiva, love of Allah. Jesus Christ love, the love that he taught, etc., etc. The love that you have your family, your God, they're all conditioned love. To think that it is real love is an ignorance. The real love that I have found is beyond human mind, which is the golden light. That's what Jesus Christ said, I am that life. Life, real life. The source of life is the golden light. So second major ignorance is to think your love towards your God is a real unconditional love. It is not so. And you have to understand and release that. You have to be free of that. There are many things, many such ignorances that I've talked about in my videos. As I said, I will give a playlist. You can go and watch them and understand. If you remove all your ignorances totally, one by one, then just like, for example, there is suppose a golden bar, and there are a lot of dusts on that bar, gold. When you remove those dusts, the gold automatically shines. That's what you are. Gold is what is called, sometimes people call it just, I'm just giving you an analogy. So what they call Atma in Hindu religion, spirit in Christian religion, etc., etc. It's a light form. That one will shine, but you will not know it. You cannot see it. You cannot see your own self without an instruments like your body and your five senses or your mind. When you remove the ignorances of conditioned love, automatically unconditional love will shine in you. When you get rid of all the ignorances about God, without knowing, you will shine as the one which is beyond human mind, which people call God. You will not know it. You will not be able to know it. You will not be able to see it. But you will be. As you can see, that all the ignorances that I'm talking about are very clear to you. It's not day-to-day events, you can see it. In fact, the real teacher of pointing out what are your ignorances is life itself. When you live, whenever there is a problem in your life, sadness, when you feel sad, disappointment, or even joy, the so-called joy, happiness, and so on, life is teaching you a lesson. Especially when you experience disappointment, failure, sadness, and so on, depression, and so on. There is something which you are holding to, some ignorance that you are holding on to. You have to let that go. You have to find out and let that go. That's how life is teaching you. Life is the greatest teacher. Your life is the greatest teacher. The energy that, the energy form that you see as the world here is the greatest teacher. Listen to that teacher. Understand the ignorance that's causing the trouble in your mind and body. Remove them. Then automatically you'll be the one which is beyond the human mind. You can call that as a self or God or Atma or Paramatma. They're all words. But that is the one which is beyond mind. You will realize it. Folks, that's what I want to talk to you. And if you have any question, leave a comment. I will respond. Talk to you soon, folks.